Sei was once a true loser living in a war-torn Japan, where magical tattoo users known as the Seal caused chaos across the world. Fearing for his safety, and in search of a little action, he began learning martial arts. However, due to his low aura, no girl wanted to be within a 1-mile radius of him. All of that changed on one dark night, when Sei found himself face to face with two losers, trying to rob a homeless addict as if he had anything other than used syringes. Sei sprang into action like Batman, and the two thugs attacked him with knives. However, Sei managed to dodge, grabbed one of their arms, and slammed him down. The thugs wet themselves in fear and ran away. The addict suddenly handed Sei a small stone with a tattoo on it. But as soon as the stone touched his skin, it started glowing with cheap special effects before shocking Sei into oblivion. The stone then disappeared into thin air, leaving a tattoo on. When Sei demanded an explanation, the homeless man mumbled some philosophical nonsense. The next morning, Sei was late and ran to his middle school. He accidentally bumped into a white-haired girl named Eyes. He immediately told her to move aside. But the white-haired girl landed a punch strong enough to make a grown man wet his pants. Realizing what she had just done, the girl cautiously touched Sei's hand and apologized, explaining that her reflexes tend to attack anything that gets close to her. When their hands touched, both Sei and the white-haired girl felt an electric shock. She looked startled and scared, quickly warning Sei to be careful before walking away. In class, Sei kept scratching the strange tattoo on his hand. His friends asked what was wrong, and he told them about the shabby man and the tattoo. After hearing his story, one of his friends shared a rumor about a secret weapon developed by the US government called the Sealing combat device, rumored to have leaked into Japan's underworld. His friend described its appearance as resembling a tattoo and suspected it was the same as Sei's. Before Sei could respond to this Area 51 level conspiracy theory, a curvy brunette girl suddenly interrupted their serious conversation with typical girly chatter about shopping. Sei, calling her Tuco, declined her shopping invite, but Tuco whined until Sei finally gave in. While shopping with Tuco, Sei ran into the firecracker white-haired girl from that morning. She calmly apologized for punching Sei, then abruptly showed her true colors and snatched Sei's phone before running off. Annoyed, Sei immediately chased her. The girl led Sei into an abandoned building. When Sei demanded an explanation, she fired back with questions of her own. Where did Sei get the tattoo? Sei hesitated to answer, but the girl lost patience and attacked. Sei dodged but immediately got hit by a kick that sent him sprawling. She grabbed Sei by the hair, not in a kinky way, and beat him senseless.
She's gonna kill me!
Finally, she pulled out a knife to stab Sei but then stopped abruptly, her mood shifting as if nothing had happened. The girl explained that the tattoo was a secret US weapon granting supernatural powers. To prove it, she took a piece of chalk and said that every tattoo has a trigger to activate it. In her case, the trigger was chalk. She activated her tattoo, creating a small wind ball in the air that exploded like a mini nuke. Sei stared in shock. The girl then explained that the tattoos were leaked by a rogue scientist, and her job was to capture illegal tattoo users like Sei. She returned Sei's phone and left. Back at the dojo, Sei's grandfather scolded him for losing to a thief, saying he needed to become stronger because weaklings can't enforce justice. The next day, the white-haired girl sat in a cafe with a man named Tom, watching Sei from afar. Tom pointed out that the girl had revealed too many secrets to Sei and should have just taken the tattoo. However, she dismissed Tom like an unpaid intern, claiming she'd handle it herself. From that day, Eyes began stalking Sei like a shadow. Unfortunately, her surveillance skills were worse than my neighbor's, so Sei and his friends noticed her right. After tolerating her ridiculous spying for a while, Sei finally confronted the girl, calling out her poor disguises. She looked sad and defeated. Feeling awkward, Sei tried to comfort her like an unskilled babysitter. Their conversation turned serious, delving into powers and feelings, but suddenly a giant Yakuza thug appeared out of nowhere and attacked them. Sei threw one punch and knocked the thug out cold. Then Tom emerged from the shadows with a nosebleed, explaining that the thug was also an illegal tattoo user he was hunting. The thug got back up and activated his tattoo, punching Sei and throwing him into the street. Eyes jumped in to help, but Sei got back up and stubbornly faced the thug again. While fighting, Eyes gave Sei hints that the thug was still a novice and didn't fully understand his power. Sei noticed that his opponent relied solely on brute strength. He used martial arts to evade and delivered a solid counterattack. Unfortunately, before Sei could celebrate, the thug went berserk and slammed Sei's head into the asphalt, beating him mercilessly.
Oh, is that the best you got? I'm sick of all this playing around. I should have just gone full. You two with the US tattoo retrieval unit?
This is bad. He's lost too much.
Amidst the barrage of punches, Sei remembered his father's advice, and a surge of energy awakened within him. bringing him back to life like a phone at 1% suddenly plugged into a charger. His tattoo began glowing, forming a dark energy orb in the air. The orb floated and struck the thug, sending him flying as his insides splattered everywhere. Ize and Tom were shocked to see the dark orb and called it the Void Maker, realizing they never expected to find the perfect match for the tattoo in Japan. The next night, Sei woke up and found Ize standing in front of him. Shocked, he realized he was back in his own room, with Ize and Tom sitting near his bed. Confused, he asked why they were there. Ize explained that he had passed out after the fight, so they brought him home. She then introduced herself and Tom as members of the special tattoo retrieval team from the US Army. Their mission was to recover all illegal tattoos scattered outside the U.S. She presented Sei with 2 heaven or hell choices: join their mission or have his hand cut off, as the tattoo couldn't be removed once it fused with the body. Ize further explained that Sei tattoo, the Void Maker, was highly unstable and could kill him if it went out of control. Sei, angry at their high-handedness, demanded an apology, blaming them for causing this mess in the first place. Instead of apologizing, Ize casually demonstrated her strength and effortlessly subdued Sei. She then revealed that she understood his burden, as she herself was trapped in the body of a child forever due to the side effects of her own tattoo, even though she was much older. The next morning at school, Sei's jaw dropped when he saw Ize joining his class, introducing herself as Bluey Floy from Los Angeles. The entire class was instantly captivated by her beauty. She waved flirtatiously at Sei, causing the whole class to look at him like he was a playboy. As soon as the teacher left the room, Tuco immediately interrogated Sei about his relationship with Ize. Instead of clarifying, Ize answered ambiguously, saying their relationship was unusual and secret, sending the class into an uproar. Tuco, with her exaggerated figure, got furious, while the boys, jealous, pushed Sei out of the window into the swimming pool below. Later, on the school rooftop, Sei demanded an explanation for Ize's sudden transfer. Ize nonchalantly replied that staying close to him made it easier to keep an eye on him. When she asked if he had decided to join their team, Sei countered by asking about their mission. Ize admitted that their mission sometimes required less than moral actions, but it was all for the sake of maintaining peace. She added that the conflict between the US and the Kingdom of Serenon was escalating, as the kingdom possessed more advanced tattoo technology and aimed to dominate the world. After some thought, Sei agreed to help, but on the condition that he set his own terms. Ize accepted his terms and welcomed him to the Blue Moon team. She gave him an address and told him to come for the details of their next mission. Before leaving, she revealed that she already knew Sei's tattoo trigger was blood. The revelation sent chills down Sei's spine. That evening, Sei tried to sneak away from Tuco to go to the address Ize had given him, but Tuco noticed and decided to secretly follow him. Sei arrived at the address and rang the doorbell, only to be greeted by Tom, who let him in. Watching from a distance, Tuco's brilliant mind grew suspicious. She wanted to follow him in but hesitated and turned back. Just as she was about to leave, a disheveled girl stared at her with piercing eyes, sending chills down Tuco's spine. The girl placed her hand on Tuco's forehead and, with the help of a tattoo on her hand, took control of Tuco's body. Inside the house, Sei was expecting a high-tech US military base, but the interior was surprisingly ordinary. He even noticed Tom's collection of idle songs and fluffy bunny dolls, questioning their seriousness. Since Ize wasn't around yet, Tom asked Sei to go to the basement to grab a box they'd need soon. Sei went down and was shocked to discover a massive training area filled with weapons, research equipment, and advanced gear. Suddenly, the doorbell rang. Tom opened it, but a split second later, a sharp umbrella pierced through his chest, leaving him severely wounded and bleeding. Hearing the commotion, Sei rushed upstairs to see Tuco standing there with a blank stare, holding the blood-dripping umbrella that had just impaled Tom. A pool of blood spread across the floor. Meanwhile, Ize, who had just finished her cleaning duties at school, was suddenly ambushed by one of Queen Arya's guards, Laka aka Viper. Without warning, Laka lashed out with his whip, destroying Ize's surroundings and tearing her clothes to shreds. Chaos erupted as students fled, and Ize prepared to fight back, her eyes burning with determination despite the humiliating scene. Back at Sei's location, Tom, despite his critical injuries, urged Sei to run. But Sei refused, knowing the person in front of him, even if possessed, was his friend, Tuco. Seeing no other option, Tom shouted at Sei to activate his tattoo using the blood in a nearby box. However, before Sei could act, Tuco launched another attack, leaving Sei with no room to think. Meanwhile, the battle between Ize and Laka intensified. Ize narrowly avoided Laka's relentless whip attacks, but one blow sent her crashing through a lower floor. Bruised but determined, she grabbed a piece of chalk she found amidst the debris and activated her tattoo. Using her enhanced speed and agility, Ize managed to outwit Laka long enough to flee, realizing that Sei and Tom were in grave danger. Back at the house, Sei struggled to find a way to generate more blood to trigger his tattoo. As he hesitated, the handle of the umbrella struck him hard, leaving him temporarily incapacitated. However, In the depths of her subconscious, Tuco resisted the assassin's control, desperately trying not to harm Sei. Spotting an opening, Tom ordered Sei to restrain Tuco while he prepared to activate his own tattoo. With quick thinking, Tom used his tattoo to forcibly extract the assassin's presence from Tuco's body. To their shock, the assassin revealed herself to be a young girl, one Tom recognized as Il, a Brahmin guard trained from a young age. Without hesitation, Il attacked Tom with her dual swords. Sei intervened just in time, grabbing her collar and blocking her strikes barehanded. In that critical moment, Sei's Void Maker tattoo activated, unleashing a devastating burst of dark energy toward Il. Realizing the immense power Sei possessed, Il retreated, but not before warning that Ise was approaching. She disappeared into the shadows. When Ise returned home, she was greeted by the sight of her half-destroyed house. A barely alive Tom explained the events. Shocked and angry, Ise dragged Sei to the underground training room, where she proceeded to train him in hand-to-hand combat. Despite Sei's efforts, Ise easily overpowered him, pointing out the flaws in his technique while he lay sprawled on the floor. During a break, Tom applied a special sealing sticker to Tuco's tattoo to suppress its effects. When Sei asked about Tom's tattoo, he explained that his was the copy type, a weaker tattoo that could be removed, making it safer but less powerful. Ise then showed Sei a gruesome photo of a victim whose organs were scattered across the ground, a casualty of an uncontrolled Voidmaker. Sei was horrified. Ise sternly warned him that he could meet the same fate if he recklessly activated his tattoo. She forced Sei to promise not to use Voidmaker without her permission. As training resumed, Tom handed Sei and Tuco a device that could detect nearby activated tattoos. He explained that the device would emit a signal whenever someone used a tattoo, and both he and Ise would receive notifications on their phones to provide backup. Later, after Sei left, Ise and Tom discussed their growing suspicions that the Kingdom of Serenon might already be aware of Sei's existence, especially after the Yakuza fight. Tom proposed relocating Sei to the US for his safety, but Ise refused, arguing that Sei would only be turned into a lab experiment if sent there. On the way home, Sei and Tuco spotted a mother cat shielding her sick kitten. They walked past without intervening, unaware that Il and Viper, two assassins from the kingdom, were watching from the shadows. Once Sei and Tuco were out of sight, the mother cat carried her kitten to Il, who silently observed the creature before disappearing. Meanwhile, Ise met with one of her comrades to receive a classified document for their next mission. The comrade inquired about Sei's whereabouts, and Ise brushed it off, claiming he was just a classmate who had visited her house. Elsewhere, Viper received a mysterious package. Opening it, he found a new weapon, a custom-made blade, and handed it to his partner, who was thrilled with her new toy. Along with the weapon came their next mission, to assassinate Lisa, one of Ise's allies from the US military. 2 weeks later, Sei successfully apprehended an illegal tattoo user with surprising ease.
動きが硬いわよ。力を抜きなさい。10分。トリガー補充のタイミングは意味なんて意味ない。
From a distance, Ise observed and provided guidance on how to wield his power more effectively. After Sei subdued the criminal, his Void Maker tattoo deactivated. Ise explained to Sei that the activation limit of his tattoo was about 10 minutes. Internally, she admired Sei's rapid progress over the past 2 weeks, convinced that he was indeed a perfect match for Void Maker. Meanwhile, in an upscale apartment, Lisa and her team appeared relaxed. Suddenly, a silent helicopter hovered above the building. Ilish leapt from it, breaking through the wall with her enhanced strength and storming into the apartment. Panic ensued as Lisa guests tried to fight back, but Illis slaughtered them effortlessly. One of them managed to press an emergency button, which sent a distress signal to Ise and Tom. Ise and Tom immediately mobilized toward the location. Sei, noticing the alert on his tattoo detection device, spotted Ise moving at high speed and decided to secretly follow her. Inside the apartment, Lisa engaged in a fierce battle with Illis. Lisa's tattoo allowed her to manipulate air and create explosions, but Illis deflected the blasts with her new sword, which seemed resistant to elemental damage. The battle raged on until the apartment began to collapse. As Ise neared the building, her body suddenly froze, her legs feeling unbearably heavy. She collapsed, unable to move. Viper emerged from the shadows, explaining that the immobilization was caused by anti-tattoo binding technology. He smugly added that he was unaffected because he hadn't activated his tattoo. Mocking Ise, Viper told her to stay put and watch helplessly. Sei arrived moments later and found Ise lying on the ground. Ise urgently explained the situation and begged Sei to save Lisa. She was baffled as to why Sei wasn't affected by the anti-tattoo technology but couldn't dwell on it. Sei rushed to the apartment and was horrified by the scene of destruction. One of Lisa's subordinates tried to warn him, but the room exploded before he could act. Miraculously surviving, Sei made his way to the rooftop, where he found Illis preparing to escape with Lisa. Sei confronted Illis, questioning her twisted sense of justice, but Illis coldly dismissed his arguments. When Sei attempted to rescue Lisa, Illis struck him with her enhanced sword, sending him flying off the rooftop. Falling toward certain doom, Sei was saved at the last moment by Tom, who scolded him for his recklessness. Tom warned SCI that their enemies were far more powerful than he imagined. As they watched Lisa being taken away in the helicopter, Sei clenched his fists, filled with frustration. The next day at school, Tuco was waiting for Sei, demanding to know where he had been. Instead of answering, Sei acted cold and dismissive, clearly weighed down by his failure to protect his comrades. Tuco was left confused and hurt. Later, Ise and Tom searched the apartment ruins and discovered Lisa's phone, which had recorded a conversation between Illis and Viper. The recording revealed that Lisa was being taken to the kingdom for experimentation. Furious, Ise declared that she would call in reinforcements to rescue Lisa. When Sei met Tuco again, he apologized for his earlier behavior. Their conversation was interrupted by Ise, who greeted them with a suspiciously sweet smile. Before Sei could react, Ise knocked him unconscious and cuffed him. When Sei woke up, he protested angrily, but Tom explained that they needed to keep him safe. The kingdom's assassins were targeting him as the Voidmaker user, making it too dangerous for him to join the rescue mission. Tuco also protested, but Tom revealed a startling truth: the tattoo on Tuco's forehead was somehow connected to Illis' tattoo. Whenever Illis activated her tattoo, Tuco power surged uncontrollably. Until they understood the connection, it was safer for both Sei and Tuco to stay confined in the basement. However, Sei, unwilling to sit idly by, used his sheer strength to break free from his restraints. Fueled by determination, he attacked Tom and forced his way out of the basement. In the process, he accidentally caused significant damage to Ai's home. Tuco joined him, and together they set off to find Ise and help her. At the site where Ise had tracked Lisa's location, Ise received a report from Tom that Sei and Tuco were on their way. She could only sigh in exasperation, focusing on the mission at hand. Meanwhile, a white Hummer sped toward her location. Viper, driving the vehicle, slammed on the brakes when he saw Ise standing defiantly in his path. The two locked eyes, the air thick with tension, as the battle was about to begin. The battle immediately broke out, with Illis decimating the forces at the rear line while Viper prepared to face Ise. The fight commenced, and this time, Ise used her strategy to land several shots on Viper. However, Viper was still able to withstand all of Ise's attacks. Meanwhile, Tom was giving instructions to attack Illis, but her swift movements made it extremely difficult. At that moment, Sei arrived on his bicycle and confronted Illis. Fortunately, he managed to activate his tattoo power just in time to block Ilish's attack. Tom came up with a plan and instructed Tuco to hand Sei a transmitter. Tuco quickly passed the communication device to Sei, and Tom explained his strategy to defeat Ilish. Observing the situation, Tom deduced that Illis' power only activated when someone was looking at her. He instructed Sei to close his eyes. Sei complied, closing his eyes mid-battle. However, Illis could still attack because Tuco was still watching her. Sei was struck by one of Illis' slashes and collapsed to the ground. Unable to bear seeing Sei hurt, Tuco leapt into the fight, activating her own tattoo power. She managed to land an attack that caught Illis off guard, but Illis quickly retaliated, forcing Tuco into a defensive position. In this dire moment, Sei appeared to be speaking to someone in his subconscious. The voice told him that he could use Voidmaker's full power to eliminate all obstacles. Sei, disliking such a destructive approach, regained control of himself and used Voidmaker to destroy the ground beneath them, causing all three of them to fall into a massive hole. As Illis tried to get up, Sei struck her with Voidmaker's power, rendering her powerless. When Sei was about to finish her off, a stray cat that Illis had taken in jumped in to protect her. Before Sei could proceed further, the new queen of the kingdom, Arapa, suddenly appeared out of nowhere. Arapa approached Sei with an air of authority and, without warning, kissed him. Smiling, she praised Sei's potential as a tattoo user and commended his ingenuity in using Voidmaker to protect Tuco and even Illis. Sei stood frozen, his mind blank. Arapa then took Illis and left. Meanwhile, Ise and Viper were still locked in an intense battle. Ise unleashed a powerful shot combined with her tattoo power, leaving Viper incapacitated. However, just as Ise thought she had won, Viper revealed one last trick to render Ise helpless. Luckily, Lisa arrived in time to save her. Together, Ise and Lisa performed a combo attack that knocked Viper out cold. Ise was relieved to see Lisa safe, but suddenly Princess Arapa appeared before them, assisting the injured Viper. Both Ise and Lisa were stunned by her presence. Before leaving, Princess Arapa demonstrated her tattoo power, which turned out to be Voidmaker as well, but far more powerful. Everyone was left speechless. She revealed that she had left a key for tattoos without triggers in the hands of the US, warning Sei to prepare. She mentioned the source, which was after Sei, and then vanished with Illis. Sei could only stand there, his mind overwhelmed by the flood of new information. At the U.S. military headquarters, Colonel Sanders spoke with Eyes, instructing her to continue monitoring Sei. A few days later, Sei spotted Arapa in the city. Worried that another fight might break out, Tuco asked Sei to go buy some groceries to avoid any trouble. Tuco then challenged Arapa to a game of table tennis, wagering that if she won, Arapa had to stay away from Sei. However, Arapa turned out to be far more skilled and easily defeated Tuco. Sei, watching this unfold, was left completely shocked. Before long, they all ended up talking in a park. The next morning, Eyes, Tom, and Sei were having breakfast together. Sei asked about Arapa's cryptic statements regarding her plans. Eyes admitted that she didn't know much about them yet and hoped Sei would continue to fight alongside her. Sei, who disliked the idea of war, agreed to help Eyes but questioned why they were staying at his house. Eyes calmly replied that, since Sei had destroyed her residence, they would be staying there temporarily. While Eyes was on patrol, her phone suddenly rang. When she answered, the voice on the other end introduced himself as Blackstone. Hearing the name, Eyes called him BB, and was shocked to learn he was in Japan. Over the phone, BB said he needed to borrow Sei for a while and promised to return him the next day. BB then took Sei to a secret research facility owned by the kingdom, where human experiments for tattoo research were being conducted. BB explained that they were planning to raid the lab that night. Feeling challenged, Sei immediately agreed to help. Using Void Maker, he smashed through the facility's walls to break in. They were greeted by a mad scientist named Karma, who ran the facility. Karma, nicknamed Mr. Genius, accused BB of betraying the kingdom and vowed to punish him. He ordered an army of experimental subjects to attack them. Karma claimed to have discovered the source of tattoos, piquing Sei's curiosity. Karma explained that the source was the core of the tattoos, which supplied their energy. As the experimental subjects attacked, Sei struggled to fight them, but BB easily obliterated the attackers. When Sei was about to be shot by a cannon-like weapon, BB stepped in to save him. BB then explained to Sei how to properly use Void Maker's true power. A shadowy monster appeared before Sei, and BB revealed that it was a manifestation of his own Void Maker power. BB launched a devastating attack that incapacitated the entire enemy force without damaging their vital organs. Karma, shocked by BB's precision, attempted to detonate the bombs implanted in the experimental subjects. However, BB's Void Maker neutralized the bombs, rendering them harmless. Karma tried to escape but was captured by BB. Karma's assistant tried to protect him, appearing weak and desperate, which made Sei feel pity for them. However, BB knocked both of them unconscious. Shortly after, military forces arrived to rescue the experimental victims at the facility. Sei watched in awe, admiring BB's principles and viewing him as a true hero. Meanwhile, in a mysterious cave, Arapa, along with her deputy Cal and Illis, discovered the fourth ruin. Inside, they found a massive glowing crystal. Arapa entered the crystal chamber to make contact with its magical power, instructing Cal and Illis to guard the entrance to ensure no one interrupted her ritual. At BB's base, Sei was seen training to control Void Maker with greater precision. He focused on manifesting a thin, energy arm. BB explained the principles of waves and frequencies in tattoos, teaching Sei to release only a small amount of energy to avoid damaging others' organs. That evening, Eyes met BB and addressed him as a former U.S. Army major. They discussed Sei's potential and the mysterious oscillator Sei possessed without knowing it. Eyes then asked why BB left the U.S. Army to join the kingdom. BB gave a vague answer, saying he wanted to save everyone. When Eyes pressed him further, BB explained that Princess Arapa intended to conquer all four ruins and use the power of the tattoos to rewrite the world. He mentioned that Arapa had likely already found the fourth ruin, so the US should focus on protecting its control of the third ruin. BB swore to stop Arapa, but Eyes doubted him and accused him of being selfish. Without arguing, BB left, warning Eyes to protect Sei. The next day, Tuco visited Sei at his home and asked about his training with BB. Sei replied that BB was a good person. Relieved, Tuco smiled but also felt pessimistic, fearing that Sei might one day leave her behind.